you think about skin cancer, you often think of summer and sunny days, but we need to think about it year round. That's right. So joining us today is Dr. Jennifer David with Cone Health Dermatology. She's here to talk about skin cancer in the winter and the importance of screenings for everyone, regardless of your skin tone. All right, Dr. David, let's first just start off with how does winter sun exposure contribute to skin cancer differently than maybe summer exposure does?
Hi, well, thank you for having me. And the point I like to make is that regardless of season, the sun emits something called UV radiation, and that will accumulate over our lifetime. So if you have a tan in the summer or just daily exposure in the winter, over time, the UV radiation from the sun will damage your skin cells, and that can lead to different types of skin cancers.
All right, so on cloudy winter days, the sun rays still impact our skin, but maybe we're not standing outside for all that long.
Correct. So there is something that I like to remind my patients of, an effect called incidental sun exposure. So that's the sun exposure we get when we're driving in our cars. Our windshields don't fully filter out UV radiation. So if you're driving to work on a sunny day, even if it's cold outside, the UV radiation will be coming through your windshield, and exposed areas such as your face, your neck, your chest, your hands for that matter, will get accumulated sun exposure every day. So if you have a commute that's 45 minutes each way, you're talking about an hour and a half of sun exposure every day. And if you're doing fun activities outside like skiing or hiking, if you're skiing, you're not only exposed to the sun directly, but also through the reflection from the snow. So it's important to remember that just because it's winter, that doesn't mean that we skimp out on our daily sun protection with sunscreen.
Okay, so sunscreen all around. Can you elaborate on how to choose maybe the right sunscreen for winter, considering facts like SPF and skin type and things like that?
Yeah, so the one important point I want to make is that all skin types need sunscreen, regardless of skin tone. So you can be fair-skinned, medium brown skin, or very dark brown skin. We all need sunscreen. If you have pigment in your skin, you do get some natural protection from the melanin, but it's not 100%. So we have to wear sunscreen with our moisturizer every day. So you want to look for specific ingredients in the winter time to make sure that it's going to hydrate your skin. Or also a little trick that I like to remind patients is to make sure that your skin is hydrated before you put on your sunscreen. So things that I look for are ingredients such as hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a natural moisturizing factor that holds on to moisture. So I have a sunscreen here, my go-to for the winter months. It's by Is Tree. You order it on Amazon or directly from their website, and this has something in it called hyaluronic acid. And this is a very hydrating gel. So as you can see here, you put it on and it just blends in like a very light lotion. We don't have to worry about it leaving like a dark cast or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to one, wearing something that feels comfortable on your skin. So it's a lot of trial and error. And two, making sure that it has an SPF of 30 or higher. Also, any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen, but the 30 is the number that you really want to look for.
Okay, so 30 and above is what we need to look at. Okay, that's what we need to have
Correct.
in our cabinets, and that's what we need to have when we go someplace. All right, so for those who love the outdoor winter activities, winter sports, what steps in addition to wearing the sunscreen should they be taking?
Yeah. You want to make sure that you're protecting your eyes. There is something called ocular melanoma. So making sure that you're wearing sunshades, or if you're skiing, making sure you're wearing goggles that have UV protect in it. You want to make sure you don't forget areas like your lips. Make sure your lip balm has sunscreen in it, and just keeping your any areas that's exposed to the sun covered with your gloves, your scarves, and things like that.
Okay, what are some of the signs of skin cancer that people should be aware of?
That's a great question. So first and foremost, we have patients look for anything new or changing. There are three types of skin cancers. The scariest one that most people become alarmed by is something called melanoma, which traditionally presents as a dark brown or black mole. So it could be a new mole that popped up out of nowhere, or an existing mole that went from light brown to dark brown, or it went from light brown to dark brown and it's growing or becoming itchy. Those are all things you want to look for and come see your dermatologist right away. But there's also something called non-melanoma skin cancers. Those are your basal cells and your squamous cells. They're actually the more common ones that come from years of accumulated sun exposure. With those, you want to look for like a pimple that's not healing on like your nose or your ear, an area that gets a lot of sun, or a dry patch that is scaly and sometimes bleeding. That could be a precancer that could lead into something called a squamous cell carcinoma. So you want to look for newer changing moles, something that you thought was a pimple that after about 6 weeks is not healing, or like a dry scaly patch that becomes symptomatic and is bleeding. Those are the three big things I tell patients to look for.
Okay, all right. So far, we've gotten a lot of good information that everyone can get skin cancer, that we all need to wear sunscreen 35 or above. We're going to continue the conversation when we come back after this break.